They have seen to that. It is part of the torment. Mary replies to Harry. If you think I am incapable of understanding you, but in any case, I must get ready for dinner, Harry says. No, no, don't go. Please don't leave me just at this moment. I feel it is important. Something should have come of this conversation, Mary says. I am not a wise person, and in the ordinary sense, I don't know you very well, although I remember you better than you think. And what is the real you? I haven't much experience, but I see something now which doesn't come from tutors, or from books, or from thinking, or from observation, something which I didn't know I knew, even if, as you say, Witchwood is a cheat. Your family, a delusion. Then it's all a delusion. Everything you feel, I don't mean what you think, but what you feel you attach to yourself to loathing, as others do to loving. An infatuation that's wrong, a good that's misdirected. You deceive yourself, like the man convinced that he is paralyzed, or like the man who believes that he is blind while he sees the sunlight. I know that this is true, Harry says. I have spent many years in useless travel. You have stayed in England, yet you seem like someone who comes from a very long distance, are the distant waterfall in the forest, inaccessible, half heard, and I hear your voice as in the silence. Between two storms, one hears the moderate usual noises in the grass and leaves of life persisting, which ordinarily pass unnoticed. Perhaps you are right, though I do not know how you should know it. Is the cold spring? Is the spring not an evil time that excites us with lying voices? Said Harry. Mary says, the cold spring, now is the time. For the ache in the moving root, the agony in the dark, the slow flow throbbing the trunk, the pain of the breaking bud, these are the ones that suffer least. The aconite under the snow, and the snowdrop crying for a moment in the wood, Harry says. Spring is an issue of blood, a season of sacrifice, and the wail of the new full tide, returning the ghosts of the dead, those whom the winter drowned. Do not the ghosts of the drowned return to land in the spring? Do the dead want to return? Mary says. Pain is the opposite of joy, but joy is a kind of pain. I believe the moment of birth is when we have knowledge of death. I believe the season of birth is the season of sacrifice, for the tree and the beast and the fish thrashing itself upstream. And what of the terrified spirit, compelled to be reborn to rise toward the violet sun, wet wings into the rain cloud, harefoot over the moon? Harry says. What have we been saying? I think I was saying that it seemed as if I had always been here, and you were someone who had come from a long distance. Whether I know what I am saying or why I say it, that does not matter. You bring me news of a door that opens at the end of a corridor, sunlight and singing, when I had felt sure that every corridor only led to another, or to a blank wall, that I kept moving, only so as not to stay still. Singing and light. Stop. What is that? Do you feel it? Mary says. What, Harry? Harry says that apprehension, deeper than all sense. Deeper than the sense of smell, but I like a smell. And that it is indescribable, a sweet and bitter smell from another world. I know it. I know it. More potent than ever before, a vapor dissolving all other worlds and me into it. Oh, Mary, don't look at me like that. Stop. Try to stop it. I am going. Oh, why now? Come out. Come out. Where are you? Let me see you. I know you were there. I know you were spying on me. Why do you play with me? Why do you let me go, only to surround me? When I remember them, they leave me alone. When I forget them, only for an instant of inattention, they are roused again. The sleepless hunters that will not let me sleep. At the moment before sleep, I always see their claws distended, quietly, as if they had never stirred. It was only a moment. It was only a moment that I stood in sunlight and thought I might stay there, Mary says. Look at me, you can depend on me. Harry, Harry, it's all right, I tell you. If you will depend on me, it will be all right, Harry says. Come out. The curtains part, revealing Eumenides in the window embrasure. And Harry continues, Why do you show yourselves now for the first time? When I knew her, I was not the same person. I was not any person. Nothing that I did has to do with me. The accident of a dreaming moment, of a dreaming age, when I was someone else, thinking of something else, puts me among you. I tell you, it is not me you were looking at, not me you were grinning at, not me your confidential looks incriminate, but that other person, if person, you thought I was. Let your necrophilia feed upon that carcass. It will not go, Mary says. Harry, there is no one here. She goes to the window and pulls the curtains across. Harry says, They were here, I tell you. They are here. Are you so imperceptible that you have such dull senses that you could not see them? If I had realized that you were so obtuse, I would not have listened to your nonsense. Can't you help me? You are of no use to me. I must face them. I must fight them. But they are stupid. How can one fight with stupidity? Yet I must speak to them. He rushes forward and tears apart the curtains, but the embrasure is empty. Mary says, Oh, Harry. And just because something is not perceived by everybody doesn't mean there's not some psychic or even spiritual reality. But don't mix up the planes, right? Scene 3. Harry, Mary, Ivy, Violet, Gerald, and Charles. Violet says, Good evening, Mary. Aren't you dressed yet? How do you think that Harry is looking? Why, who could have pulled those curtains apart? Pulls them together. Very well. I think after such a long journey, you know what a rush he had to be here in time for his mother's birthday, Ivy says. Mary, my dear, did you arrange these flowers? Just let me change them. You don't mind, do you? I know so much about flowers. Flowers have always been my passion. You know, I had my own garden once in Cornwall, when I could afford a garden, and I took several prizes with my delphiniums. I was rather an authority, Gerald says. Good evening, Mary. You've seen Harry, I see. It's good to have him back again, isn't it? We must make him feel at home, and most auspicious that he could be here for his mother's birthday, Mary says. I must go and change. I came in very late, and exits. Charles says, Now we only want Arthur and John. I'm glad that you'll all be together, Harry. They need the influence of their elder brother. Arthur's a bit irresponsible, you know. You should have a sobering effect upon him. After all, you're the head of the family. Amy's voice. Violet! Has Arthur or John come yet? Violet says, Neither of them is here yet, Amy. Amy enters with Dr. Warburton and says, It is most vexing. What can have happened? I suppose it's the fog that is holding them up.